All right, so good afternoon. I'm making this video because a lot of you have requested it, and I think a majority of students that were ahead have hit a wall and are a little stuck. So I'm going to walk you guys through the universal joint. This probably is going to be a two-part video just because there's a lot of steps, but I have confidence that you guys will be able to walk through this part. I just walked Kenneth through this part today for the extra help session that I had. Please remember to pay attention when I do have those the help sessions. We are able to do a lot in a little time, but without that, you can still watch this video. So we're going to start with the exercise assembly. You can click this link right in the Onshape assignment. P.S. I know who doesn't open the assignment and who still hasn't opened the assignment. So please make sure that you look at the directions. Clicking here, we're going to jump right into this. This is the final product. I'll show you this here. And what this will be a universal joint where I can move this from side to side. It's almost like an elbow, but that will be the final product. So let's go ahead, start a new one. I'm going to create a new document. Actually, before I do that, because I'm going to mess myself up here, when we follow the directions, it's actually going to have us make a copy of the universal joint. We're going to click, and it's going to bring us to a new tab that is the universal joint. I'm going to add that to my other window. With this, it's going to load the space for us. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make a copy. While we're making our copy, I'm going to name this first last name. Of course, you'll actually put your name here, right? We'll create the public document. That's our first step. So once we have that, I'm actually going to bring myself up here. Yep, so I'm out the way. Once we have that, we're going to create an assembly, and we're going to do that by selecting the plus sign right here. We're going to create the plus sign right here. Once we click that plus sign, we're going to click Create Assembly. Create Assembly. Once I've done that, it's going to ask me to rename the assembly Universal Joint Assembly. I'm going to right click. I'm going to rename that tab Universal Joint Assembly. If you want, I don't mind you typing UNIV dot as Universal Joint Assembly. All right, you can type in assemb for short for assembly, Universal Joint Assembly. Okay, press enter. That's there. Okay. Then what we're going to do, our next step, we're going to insert the part, okay? We're going to click Insert Part. And we're going to click the universal joint. It'll pop up right into the space. And then we can go ahead and click check mark. Now, I am moving a little faster. You guys can always pause and rewind me. But at this point, these are all steps that we have done. We have created a new document. We have created an assembly. And we have inserted parts. We've done this a couple times. This is nothing new, okay? Boom, we've already knocked out steps 1 through 3, and we're moving right along. So once you click insert, once you click the part, it's gonna bring the part right into space. You don't need to move your mouse anywhere. You're just going to move right up here and click check mark. And it's your part's right here, okay? Now, we're gonna move to our next step. Okay, we're gonna right click our part and we're actually gonna fix the part. Why do we need to fix the part? Because we don't want that part to move at all, right? If this is a part that I brought in, we want it to be fixed so that when I do add my other joints, my other meats, I don't want it to move. So I'm gonna right click it, I'm gonna go right to fix, and I'm gonna left click to fix that in part. Now, if I try to move that, you'll see the hazard sign. It's saying that it's not moving. It's not going to move because it's fixed. Simple enough. Don't get overwhelmed by the steps. Many of these are basic steps. We've already gone through 1 through 4 on the 5th step. Now we're going to bring in that universal joint component. Okay. Now this is a little different. We're going to insert. We're going to bring this in, and now we are going to move our mouse to the side. So we're going to click, okay? It's going to bring it right into the space. I do want to zoom out. I do want to zoom out using the mouse or using the trackpad. I want to zoom out, keep zooming out. And I want to put that right to the right side so it's not touching the other joint, okay? Click, and I'm going to click check mark. I don't want that to be touching this joint here. I want them to be separate, okay? Good. Once I bring that in, I'm going to click check mark, and I'm done. Again, that's just insert and clicking the universal joint and dragging it out to the side. Next step. Oh, we're moving along. Okay, now that we're here, we're actually going to mate our cube, okay, to our joint. And how we're going to do that, we're going to use these discs. Someone said it looks like a G. So I called it the center of gravity. We're going to use these discs, and that's how we're going to actually mate them. And we're going to use the revolute mate, okay? If you want to click and find our revolute mate, REVOLUTE, revolute mate. If we're not sure where it's at, we can always type it in. We'll find revolute pops right up. We're going to click our revolute mate. Once we have that up, okay, we're going to click the disc within the cube first. All right, then we're going to click the disc between the universal joint. It's going to snap right into place. Now, these images are not matching, so that's not the right disc. So we're going to press X, okay? Make sure that we get the right disc so that we can get the right lineup, okay? And it's going to actually be this disc, which you can see at an angle here. I'm going to zoom in, all right? Let's do that one more time. Click Revolute Mate. I'm going to zoom in. We want to make it the disc that's, there we go, that's on our XY plane, okay? We're going to cross, all right? And then we're going to click the disc that's between the joint. Now we can see that it matches the picture, okay? We do want to make sure it matches the picture so that it will all make sense when we're working through it. We're going to click check mark. And there we have it. We're able to add that mate. Now, what I forgot was limits, okay? Now, if you ever close a mate and you're like, I forgot something, I have to go back to it, I can always go right over to the mate and I'm going to double click it, okay? Double click it. That's the left click. 1, 2. And then I'm going to go to limits. I'm going to click the limits. I'm going to add the limits. That's going to be -90, okay? And then that other limit is going to be 90, all right? Once I have those, I'm going to click check mark. We're good to go. Remember, anytime if I forget, I can always double click, go right back into the mate. Okay, good. Going right to the next slide. I'm going to check time real quick. Okay, good. We got about 7 minutes. Perfect time to get halfway through this. Okay, now we're going to add our mates, a fasten mate to these two pieces. One kind of looks like a kitchen strainer. The other just looks like a mounting piece. But if you click on these, remember to click in the white space first. Fun fact, if there's a 1 next to that, then you've clicked on one part. If there's a 2 next to it, you clicked on 2 parts. We don't want anything, so we're going to click right into the space. Okay, you always want to start off this way. If I click and drag this piece, they are not connected, comes right off. We have to add a mate, okay? So we're going to add the fasten mate. Come over here, click our fasten mate. The 2 places you want to click are actually the line at the base, or not the base necessarily, midway point of the joint, the line, and this crease around the edge of this piece, okay? So with that, let's change the view. Let's click this corner. Remember, you can always click these corners to help you change the view. I'm going to click this corner. I'm going to click the corner one more time, and I'll be able to see right behind the pieces, right? So the piece that I'm going to use first is this line that I'm going to click first. It's going to be in between right here, this piece, okay? Like I said, midway. I'm going to click here, 1. All right, then I'm going to change my view, and I'm going to zoom in. When you use that crease right there, right here, okay? Now, if you see 2, you see how I see 2? That means something's not right. Something else is already selected, and I can see that it actually has this piece selected, which I don't want. If there's ever a point where you see, I selected the wrong piece, it's okay. We can close it out, you can close this, and open a new one. Fasten mate. No worries. Rather you start over than have to start get stuck on a part or make the wrong section, which happens. We're going to zoom in here again. We're going to use that mid piece. Okay, that mid piece right there. Click. We're going to change our view. Then we're going to zoom in. And again, we don't want that second piece there. Sometimes that happens. It's okay. We're going to close it. Then we're going to zoom in here. I'm going to click that line right there, that edge of that piece at the bottom. Once you click that, it'll snap right into place. We can click check mark, and that is exactly where you want it to be. If you move it, we can see that it matches right here. I'll do that one more time since I had a little